Hi guys, I just want to welcome you to this Diastasis 101 webinar. I am so glad y'all are here, and Rachel's here with me. And of course, it wouldn't be a great webinar if there weren't technical difficulties. So her camera's not working. So you will just hear her, and also her voice has gone out. So she's joking around saying I sound like a man. And also, if you see, there's a chat box. You can, let me know if you can see the chat box. If you want, you can type in there and tell me you're here, or if you have any questions, you can put some questions in there. I'm going to do my best to answer questions as I go, and at the end of the webinar as well. So let's just dive on in here. And I just want to thank everybody again for coming. This has just been a huge, just so many people have signed up for this. So I know it's a very huge issue for people. So I hope that I get all your questions answered. So let's just go on to first on what causes diastasis. So a lot of people think it's pregnancy related, and pregnancy can bring it on, but really what causes it is it's a malalignment in your body. It can be poor posture, and we end up being butt tuckers a lot because we sit so much, and then how we hold our kids, we're in bad positions. Also, we don't breathe properly. We don't breathe with our diaphragm. We're either chest breathers or we're belly breathers, and we need to learn to breathe with our diaphragm correctly. So what happens is when you are malaligned and you have poor posture, there's an intra-abdominal pressure going on inside. And this actually prevents your inner core from working correctly. And your inner core muscles, the four main ones, are your transverse abdominal, which is your natural corset, and your multifidus muscles of the spine, your diaphragm, and your pelvic floor. And if you are in malalignment, then you're creating all this pressure, and that pressure is going to go somewhere, and it may result in a diastasis. It can result in hernias. It can result in pelvic organ prolapse. It can even just cause different aches and pains of the body. So if you can get your alignment right and your breathing right, you can prevent it from happening from later on, especially after I talk about how you are going to strengthen your inner core muscles. So let me see if anybody, Rachel, can you do me a favor and just check the chat, and if you see anybody has questions, will you let me know?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we're on to the nutrition slides, and just real quick, some of the foods that can create bloating are some grains, dairy, asparagus, broccoli, cabbage, even sugarless gum, and processed foods. So those can create bloating, and Rachel's going to go into the nutrition part with you here in just a minute to explain it better. And nutrition is huge when healing diastasis because your body needs nutrients to heal anything that's going on in your body. Foods that may help reduce bloating are seeds and nuts, mushrooms, squash, salt-free seasonings, and water. So I'll send you, y'all will get a recording of this webinar, and then I'll also send you out this PDF so you can look over it. So don't worry if I'm going too fast. You don't have to, if you don't have anything to write stuff down with, don't worry about that. So Rachel, I'm going to let you take over with the nutrition part real quick.
Hi, everyone. Like Olivia said, I was sick this week, so my voice is going out on me along with my camera. So I do sound a little funny, so just bear with me. But it's really important to know what to avoid and what to incorporate in your daily diet. And like Olivia just went over, she went over some of the foods that bloat you and some of the foods that help with bloating, which will help keep your muscles from distending or holding your muscles in. But I wanted to go over good fats with you, carbohydrates with you, and just talk about meal planning. So good fats are your unsaturated fats or your plant-based fats, such as nut oils, nut seeds, and avocados. There are two exceptions, and one's very controversial. The first one would be palm kernel oil. That is a plant-based fat, but it's considered saturated. And you find that a lot in protein bars. Another one that's very controversial is coconut oil, which coconut oil is actually a medium chain triglyceride. So it's considered to be okay. Even though it's a saturated fat, you can still consume coconut oil. Your bad fats are your saturated fats, such as animal fats and trans fats, which trans fats are hydrogenated oils. So any oil that comes from an animal or that would solidify at room temperature is a fat you want to avoid. Carbohydrates, that's a scary word for people. I feel like society has really taught us to be afraid of carbohydrates. You need to incorporate carbohydrates in your diet. Some people need more than others, and some people, like myself, actually, I do more of a high protein diet just because of some health conditions I have, but I still like to get carbohydrates in. So what you want to avoid is processed wheat products. So anything that says whole wheat, you do not want. You want to look for whole grain. You want to avoid starches and refined sugars. And you want to look for foods that are loaded with fiber. So, for example, you want to avoid sweets and white potatoes, pastas, white rice, and whole wheat breads. And you want to look for whole grains such as quinoa, millet, oats, couscous, bulgur, and grains such as that. Sweet potatoes is a great source of carbohydrates, and vegetables and fruits that are high in fiber. When you eat carbohydrates, you always want to pair a carbohydrate with a protein to help slow down the digestion of the carb. It will leave you feeling fuller longer, and it will help keep your blood glucose levels stable. And this will help you to avoid storing fat. Let's go to the next slide here.
Okay, let me get that. There you go.
Okay. Foods that are shown to help build muscle: berries, almonds, lean proteins such as salmon and chicken, eggs, yogurt, leafy greens, whole grains, particularly quinoa due to its high protein content, and apples. Now, I know that we said to avoid grains and yogurt for bloating, but it really depends on how they're prepared. Yogurt is a dairy, and that was one to avoid, but because yogurt's very high in protein, it's set aside from dairy. It's in its own little category of dairy. So yogurt actually does help build muscle because it's high in protein. You just want to avoid yogurts that are full of sugar. So you're looking at plain yogurts and adding in fruits and granola and things that kind of help give them some flavor. Eating those foods in conjunction with exercise will help build muscle and help build lean muscle mass. And so when you're developing your daily meal plan, you really should eat 6 times a day. And you can still keep your 3 big meals with snacks in between. And so for breakfast, a good example of a good breakfast would be oatmeal with an egg. You're getting a carbohydrate and a protein, and that will really help get your day started and get your metabolism kicked into gear. And then you have a snack in between your breakfast and your lunch. That would be a fiber and a protein, like apple slices and almonds. For lunch, you want to have a protein, a carb, and a fiber. So a good lunch would be like a parfait, a yogurt with some granola and strawberries, and clean tuna salad. Clean would be no mayonnaise. When I make tuna salad, I like to make it with tuna, a little Dijon mustard, a diced up egg, and some diced up cucumber. And I think it's really good. It has crunch and it has good flavor. You can also use some of those salt-free spices that Olivia talked about to help flavor your foods. Then after lunch and between lunch and dinner, a good snack to have would be a good fat and a fiber. So hummus and cucumbers, that would be a good example. You would use a 1/4 cup of hummus would be a serving with half of a cucumber sliced. For dinner, you would have a protein, a carbohydrate, and a fiber. So grilled chicken breast with brown rice or a sweet potato and sauteed squash or roasted broccoli or roasted veggies are really good. It gives it a lot of flavor. And a cup of raspberries would be a really good dinner. And if you needed something right before you went to bed, it wouldn't hurt to maybe eat, half of a sliced apple with peanut butter, but you don't just want to eat a fruit by itself. So you want to eat clean, you want to watch your portion sizes, and you want to watch how you pair your foods so that you're making sure you're properly fueling your body while also trying to build lean muscle. And that ties in with diastasis because when you have lean muscle and your muscles are strong, it helps to hold everything in better.
Right. And especially that transverse abdominal muscle that it doesn't really get worked. Even when we say we're working the core, it doesn't really get worked very often. So we definitely need that. And are you done with everything on that, Rachel?
I am.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing that, even though your voice is having a hard time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You did a great job. So
thank you.
Okay, so some of the questions that I have gotten asked a whole lot are what are exercises to avoid? Now, I'm not saying that you can't ever do these again, but when you have a diastasis, you really need to work on healing it. So, of course, crunches you don't need to do because it's actually pushing all those organs up, and you may see a dome, and you need to avoid that. If you're in a plank or push-up position, that gravity is falling and it's making those organs fall out. So what's happening is you've got your left and right abdominal wall, and in the middle is that connective tissue called the linea alba. And it's it gets stretched out and it's very thin. And when you are leaning forward, like in a plank position or a push-up, all those organs are going against that linea alba tissue that has gotten very thin. So you want to be careful with that until you can build up that connective tissue again. And the same thing goes with V sit-ups, any things that put you in a crunch position, heavy lifting. And that's on here because a lot of times with heavy lifting, you are straining and you aren't having correct form. So I'm not saying you can't lift weights, but instead of doing the heavy lifting, maybe go longer, and say let's say if you do 8 to 10 reps of heavy lifting, I would say just to go ahead, you can lift weights, but make it for like 15 reps or 20 reps where you're not straining so much. Burpees, running, and jumping for right now. I'm going to kind of tell y'all how you can protect yourself if you are doing some of these exercises. Pull-ups, because that's straining again, and any kind of twisting motion. So those are, you may think, well, what in the world am I going to do? There's plenty of things you can do, and I'm going to show you a few here in just a minute. Okay, another question I get is how long do you need to avoid these exercises? So I found it's different for every woman. Actually, some of my clients avoid exercise altogether, and some have actually continued doing what they were doing. But what I teach, how I'm teaching you to strengthen your transverse abdominal and your pelvic floor and getting all of those muscles working together like gears, it's better than if you have never been working them at all. So they are getting stronger. So I want you to listen to your body. And then even when you work out, it's very good to check your diastasis after your workout to see if it's making it worse. Now, I don't want you checking your diastasis all the time. You only need to check it once a day and try to do that at the same time every day. And then you can also check it, like I said, after your workouts to see if a certain workout is making it worse. Now, a sign that your body is ready to do the exercises that you're wanting, what it means is if you can keep your correct alignment in the exercises and you're breathing correct when doing the exercises, and I'll talk to you about this here in a minute. I'll actually show you some things. Then you're ready to move on to the next one. And you continue working on your alignment and breathing on each new exercise that you try. So also, you're ready if you don't see a protrusion or a doming in your abdominal region when doing the exercises. You don't have low back pain when performing the exercise. A lot of women who have diastasis, they have lower back pain, and it's because they don't have anything supporting them anymore. That transverse abdominal is not there supporting all of their organs and their abs and their back anymore. About 60 cents percent of women will leak if they have a diastasis. And if that's you, what I'm teaching, it actually helps heal diastasis and leakage problems. When you don't leak when doing an exercise, you're ready to move on. Okay, so how you fix your alignment, okay? It is going to be how you stand, that's important. How you sit, how you, let me switch screens real quick just so I can show you. And so I'm not gonna do screen share anymore. And I hope that y'all can see me now. So let me pull this up. Rachel, can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to stand up and I'm going to kind of show you how to do your alignment. So, Rachel, I'm going to let you tell me if you can see my whole body and how it looks. Is that good?
I can see you.
Okay, so a lot of women stand like this, okay? And our butt is tucked under. We're kind of slumping. And the reason we're like this is pregnancy does this to us, sitting does this to us. And what you need to do, I want you to stand with your feet hip width apart and then pretend like there's a string on your butt and you kind of pull it up. Now, it's not don't lift your shoulders up. I want you to pull a string up on your butt to untuck it and let your belly go, because we tend to suck in our stomachs. We've been told to suck in our stomachs and stand like this. So when you suck in your stomach, you actually prevent your diaphragm from going down and pushing on the organs and opening your pelvic floor gently. And that's what it's supposed to do to make all of these muscles work together. So it's creating a pressure in your abdominals. So alignment is the number one thing you need to work on. So I want you to untuck your butt. And now your ribs may be flaring. So if your ribs are flaring, and if you can put your fingers underneath your ribs, that's not what I want. I want you to kind of push your ribs in a little bit to where you can't put your fingers underneath them and you're not flaring your ribs. And just keep your shoulders down. If you need to, you can go look in a mirror to give this a try. But this is what you need to look like. And again, let your belly go. And I know that's hard to do. But don't worry about it, because everything's going to line up perfectly, okay? So let's say, so that's how you do it standing. If you're sitting, let me move this a little bit so you can see me. Okay, so Rachel, can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, so we usually sit like this, okay? Or we're sitting like this. If you can maybe even come to the edge of your seat, untuck that butt again, and don't rib flare. This is the perfect way. Now, I can't find my half dome yoga block, but you can get a half dome yoga block about this big. It's flat on one side and it has a dome on the other. You would put the dome side down on the chair, and what it does is it rocks you to untuck your butt, and if you rock back, it kind of shows you that you're tucking your butt under. So that's a really great way. If you sit all the time, you need to be in this position. It's very, very important. So when you're standing and sitting, those are some of the things. And if you have any questions about that, you can put those in the chat box, okay? So now let's talk about some alignment issues when, as women, we are blow drying our hair or picking our kids up, okay? So if we are over like this and blow drying our hair, we are tucked under. And what I want you to start doing is to lift that butt up a little bit so that it's straight and you're hinging at the hips, okay? So you're not crunched over. This is how you need to do it. And this is important because pretend like your diastasis is a zipper, okay? If you were hunched over, what would your zipper be doing if it was open? It would be opened. So that's what's going on with your diastasis if you are in bad posture. Any amount of work that you're doing to strengthen it, if you have 18 hours of bad posture, it's going to be very hard to correct it. So that is what I want you to do. And I want you to practice this while you are putting your makeup on, while you're holding your kids. So I know we can hold our kids and do this, put them on our hips, and then our butt tucks under. So if you have your kid on your hip, I want you to stand up, untuck that butt, and that's how you hold them, okay? Also, when you're like this, you want to make sure your ribs is over your pelvic floor, and it's just a straight line up and down. Now, here's the thing. If you wear heels, it's putting us in a position like this, and we automatically have to readjust ourselves. So our thighs are over our ankle bones, and we really want them to be they're above them. So you want them to be straight above them and not over them. So that's what heels do to us. And it's actually any shoe that makes our heel higher than the balls of our feet. And again, that puts us in bad alignment. So if you have a diastasis or a pelvic floor issue, I really encourage you to not wear heels right now. And even pregnant mamas, if you're pregnant, heels are so bad for you and your alignment, okay? So those are some of the things you need to practice. Let's talk about picking up kids real quick, because if you're a mommy, you're doing this all the time. So I want you to hinge at your hip instead of bending over like this and picking them up where you're just opening your diastasis, okay? Hinge at the hip again, and you can just kind of squat and row and pick them up. Or you can lunge down gently and pick them up, okay? And if you are laying down on the floor, if you're gonna lay down on the floor, sorry if I'm moving this around, I just want you to be able to see this, okay? So I want you to just kind of slide down if you're gonna lay down, and then just slide back up instead of just flopping yourself, you know, down. So I want you to be cautious of that and be careful. Okay, Rachel, do we have any questions yet?
Not that I can see.
Okay. All righty. So that's alignment. And then I want you to tell me if you think you are, well, you don't have to tell me, but just go ahead, and if you want to look in a mirror, you can look in a mirror. So I want you to take a breath for me. And I want you to tell me if your chest rises or your belly rises. So kind of do that real quick while you're standing up. And then what I want you to do before you take another breath is get in a correct alignment. Don't put your weight in your heels or your toes. Put them at the center of your feet and untuck your butt, ribs down, and then try to take a breath. Okay, so how I want you to take a breath is called an umbrella breath with your diaphragm. So put your hands right here on your rib cage, okay? And then I want you to take a deep breath and try to fill all this up. So I'm taking deep breaths right now. And your ribs should come out and you should have a light belly rise. If you want to put your hand right here on your chest to kind of help you to remember not to do that, that would be great. So that's what I want you to start practicing, is that umbrella breath right there. And don't suck your tummy in. If you're sucking your tummy in, it makes it hard for that diaphragm to get down. And it doesn't allow our pumping system to work correctly. So the four main muscles of your core are your transverse abdominal, your diaphragm, your multifidus muscles of the spine, and your pelvic floor. Okay, so all of those muscles, pretend like they're gears working together, okay? A lot of people work them in isolated movements. They might work their transverse abdominal, or they might work their pelvic floor with just doing Kegels. But what I want you to learn to do is to start working them all together as gears and as a pumping system, because that helps release the pressure in our abdominals so that there's no pressure, so it's not pushing out for the diastasis anymore, or the leakage. Okay, so those are some things I want you to work on. So the alignment and also the breathing. Okay, so let me see what else. And I don't know if it was hard for you to breathe, but what I want you to do now is I'm just going to do this with you so we can all do it together, okay? I want you, a lot of times it's easier to practice that breath while you're laying down, because you're not having to fight against gravity. So if you want to lay down and put your hands on your ribs and then just start taking a breath, okay? And I want to see, when you take a breath, when you do it correctly and you take a deep breath, do you feel your pelvic floor, your organs pushing on your pelvic floor? That's what I want you to see if you can feel. Okay? Because your pelvic floor, your diaphragm pushes your pelvic floor down, and then it relaxes and your pelvic floor comes up. So that's your pumping system, and I want you to be able to feel that. So now what I want you to do, you can do this standing up, you can do it laying down, you can do it sitting. I want you to do a pelvic floor lift. Now, a lot of people think of that as, stopping your pee when you go to the bathroom. But if you can do this and pretend like you're picking up a tissue, some people say beans or marbles. I just like the tissue. So what I want you to do is try to pick that up. And I want you to see if you can feel it in the front part of you or in the back part, in your butt. Do you feel it in your butt or in the front part, or can you feel it in both? Because what we want to do is get a sensation of you feeling it in all areas balanced, okay? So that's what I want you to try for just a minute and see. If you cannot feel it, a lot of people feel it mainly just in their butts. So how you do it is to feel it in the front, kind of do a ski jump like this. Pick up that tissue with your pelvic floor, okay? And then you should be able to feel it in the front, okay? Then I want you to come back to the center. Try to pick it up again and see if you can feel it balanced. That way you know how that sensation feels, okay? Another reason it's so important to get that alignment right and you're not tucked under, your sacrum is like, if it's pushing under, it's shortening the muscles of your pelvic floor. So you want to open those pelvic floor muscles up so that the diaphragm can come down and push it down easily. The organs can do exactly what it needs to do. So you don't want shortened muscles. So that's another thing. So I want you to practice the pelvic floor lift and tell me how you feel. Well, you don't have to tell me how you feel right now, but I just want you to see how it's doing. So now what I want you to do is, I know I keep moving, I'm sorry, is I want you to, now we're going to try to do it together as a team, okay? So what we're going to do is you're going to practice your breathing team, okay? So you're going to inhale, like I told you. Real quick, I do need to point out, even when you're laying down, you need to have correct alignment. So if you're laying down and your ribs are flaring, a lot of people's are. So what you need to do is you need to get a pillow. You need to put it under your head and under your shoulders, okay? Because that will make your ribs go in and it's not flaring. The other thing is your pelvic floor needs to be in the correct position. So I want you to take your hands and put them in a triangle. And I want you to take the heel of your hands and put them on your hip bones and your fingertips on your pubic bone, okay? And if your fingertips are above the heel of your hand, then you're tucked under. You want your fingers to be parallel. So what you're going to do is rock your pelvic floor back and forth until you feel your fingers parallel. Now that's going to maybe make you feel like you have an arch a little bit, but that's exactly what you need to do. I don't want the arch hurting you. Just do it to where you're comfortable, but you definitely don't need to be tucked under. So now that you're in correct alignment, I want you to breathe in with your diaphragm. You're going to inhale. This is how it's going to look. Your pelvic floor opens. You exhale. And when you exhale, what I want you to do is kind of blow through a straw. And then I want you to lift your pelvic floor up and in. So I want you to try this. So what it is, it's inhale, belly, gentle belly rise, and you open your pelvic floor. You exhale, blow through a straw, and draw your pelvic floor up and in. When you draw your pelvic floor up and in, this activates your TVA muscle. And that is the muscle that we are going to work to start closing up that diastasis. But you have to get your breathing right and understand the pelvic floor and everything, because they're gears and they work together, okay? So now, Rachel, are you following me okay?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, when you are breathing out or you're inhaling, I don't want you to force your pelvic floor open. Don't make it happen. Just let it happen naturally, okay? Oops, something's going on with my computer. Okay. So now what we get to do is we're going to do some engagement of your TVA, okay? And this is going to help you know how to engage your TVA instead of sucking in. So a lot of people just suck in, and that's not activating your TVA. So just give it a practice real quick. I want you to pretend like your two hip bones right here are the cover of a book, and you're closing it together. So Rachel, can you try that and see if that works for you? So you just pretend like it's a book and you close it together.
Oh, Olivia, you've
Yes.
frozen. Okay, nope, you're good now. I don't know if it's just me or if it's your computer, but you are frozen.
Okay. So I don't know if you heard me, but can you do that? Like when you close your TVA, you pretend like it's a book. These bones right here covers, and you close it up, and it's gonna be, you're gonna feel it deep down. It's not really up here, it's deep down in here. And then I want you to hold for 10 seconds, but keep breathing, okay?
Okay.
So just hold that for a minute and let it go. Now see if you can do that. Close the book and pulse it for 5 times and see if you can feel that.
Yeah, that feels like a good ab workout.
Okay, yeah, and that's what it should. You're gonna feel, you're not gonna see that you're doing anything, but it feels like an ab workout. So let me help you with the breathing and everything so you can connect everything together, okay? So before you begin, I want you to inhale. Remember to rock your pelvis floor, get everything and get in alignment. And then I want you to inhale, open, exhale, close, lift up and in the pelvic floor, and then close your book and hold it for 10 seconds. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. Now, let's try that again. I want you to inhale, open pelvic floor, exhale, close, lift it up, and now I want you to pulse. And even try to pulse 10 times and see if you can lift your pelvic floor up 10 times as you pulse, 10 times. Okay, so once you do that, you can even try sitting up to do that as well. And that's something that will really help get you in the habit of breathing and get your pelvic floor working and all of your gears working together, and you're working that transverse abdominal. But my ab felt that already. Yeah. So I'm going to the next slide, and here let me see what I had. Okay, so now here's another one I want you to try. So it's the same thing, but I want you to do it with doing a bridge pulse up, okay? So you're going to inhale, exhale, lift the pelvic floor, come up, and engage that TVA. Close it up, okay? Come down. So then you inhale, pull up the pelvic floor, and then squeeze your legs together and the books together for your TVA and just close it. And then come down. And now I'm going to show you how that would look with pulsing, okay? So again, inhale, breathe out, pelvic floor up, and engage. Now we're going to pulse. You're closing that book while you're pulsing, and I want you breathing at the same time, okay? All right. So those are some things you can try. So when you get sent this recording, you can continue practicing it, okay? And I'm going to my next slide. And something real quick that I kind of wanted to show you. I'll have to leave just for a second because I wanted to get a pillow to show you something. Our pelvic floors, we've got issues because we're sitting all the time. So what I want, if you sit on the floor more and you move more and you walk more, that's going to help your pelvic floor be healthier. So when you're sitting on the floor, I like to sit on the floor because my joints don't stay in the same position very long. So a lot of times it's hard to sit with your butt untucked. Our muscles get tired because we are not used to working those muscles. So I like to put a pillow right here underneath me, and that untucks my butt. And this is how I sit a lot. And then, or I sit like this with my legs out. You can do them in front of you and just like this. And I do also do it without the pillow, but when I get tired, I use that pillow to help me. So I hope that kind of helps you when you're sitting on the floor. Okay. So now I wanted to talk to you about moving and protecting yourself. And it starts with even simple exercises like just in a chair when you stand up. So if you're sitting in a chair, I want you to get in correct alignment. And this is how you protect your tummy before you stand up and before you get into any movement. So you're going to sit in a chair. And then before you stand up, I want you to inhale. Okay, exhale, lift and close. And then I want you to stand up. Okay, because now your TVA is closed and you're protected. So what you're going to do again, I'm going to let you hear me breathe. So I'm going to go inhale, lift up, and stand up. I saw Dr. Julie Weed do this, and it's been really great for some of my clients. So just remember, all movement should come from your core first. That's our foundation in every movement we make. Even if we're reaching to grab something, our core, our inner core, all movement should start from there first. So this gives you a sturdy center. Okay, so I'm going to go to my next slide. All right. So let's say you are doing a bicep curl, okay? So how are you going to do this? So you're going to do a bicep curl, but how are you going to protect yourself and with your breathing? So you're going to get aligned correctly, of course, and then you're going to inhale correctly, exhale, and bring up that pelvic floor and engage and come up, okay? So you're continuing breathing. And it's really hard at first to do it because your mind is thinking, okay, what am I doing? Am I breathing correctly? How am I supposed to be breathing? But it's just something to practice. And whenever you want to do hardcore workouts and you've got this breathing right, you're going to be protected, okay? And I want you to do this even when you're lifting your kids. Don't move until you feel that pelvic floor lift, because that's engaging that TVA. And it's just protecting you, okay? So that is how you start doing exercises. And now what I want to do with you is to try a squat with the breathing pattern, okay? So how you're going to do it, just let me show you with the hands first. So you're going to inhale, open, exhale, lift, and come up, okay? And I'm just doing a little squat. And so make sure when you squat, you hinge at the hips, your shins are vertical, and your knees don't go over your toe. So get that butt back. You inhale, open, exhale, lift and engage, and come up, okay? So you can't see this going on, but I've got that lifting and I'm engaging, okay? So that's what you're going to do is you're going to practice, practice, practice. So the exercise that's going to help you close that diastasis right now are those 10-second holds and those 10-second pulses. And you can even add in the butt bridges. That will actually start building up the tissue in that linea alba and start pulling together that transverse abdominal. So you can do that maybe 3 times a day, but you want to get that breathing correct. Okay, so here are some of the questions that were asked. And if I don't answer your questions in this, I hope that I have in some of the things that I've already showed you, and you can also put some questions up in the chat if you have any. I don't know. I hope you're able to do the chat. This is my first webinar, so I don't know. Rachel, are you able to type in there and hit enter?
I did. I actually went ahead and posted so that everyone could see if they had any questions to feel free to type them in there.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm not on that screen. I keep looking at my slide. So a big question is splinting. Should you splint, and should you get belts to hold you together? I haven't ever had any of my clients do splinting, but let's say maybe you're a 6-finger width diastasis or something, and you just need that extra protection throughout the day. Yes, you can go ahead and try splinting. But I'm not a big, I don't really believe in splinting so much because you're not working that transverse abdominal. So when you splint and you take it off, it just kind of goes back to where it is. You want your body to learn how to hold itself in alignment. You want it to learn how to work that TVA. And if the splint is doing it for you, those muscles aren't working and getting stronger. So that's what I want you to focus on. Should you have surgery? I don't know. But I don't know how bad your diastasis is. But I do know if you are getting in correct alignment and you are working your transverse abdominal, you will prevent this from happening in the future, and you will also start healing it. A lot of doctors tell people you just need surgery because they don't know how to heal it. Doctors are telling women wrong information because they haven't been trained in this. They don't really know how to heal it. One of my clients said the doctor just told her there's nothing you can do about it. It's just a hopeless situation, and it's not a hopeless situation. You are going to get your body functioning back to how it's supposed to function. So another question is, can I do this and do these exercises if you've had surgery, or will it undo it? No, I do not believe it's going to undo it. You are just working on getting your muscles strong where they need to be strong. You're getting your inner core strong, and your whole entire body will profit from this. If you are out of correct alignment, if you are not breathing correctly, you might have aches and pains in your body, in your knees, in your shoulders that actually stem from this. So correcting this and getting it strong is only going to help you. Another question is, what if you've had it for years? It doesn't matter. If you've had it for years, you can still correct it. Somebody asked me, she's had it for 13 years. You can get those muscles strong, just like if you've never worked out your biceps before, you've never done squats, you will slowly get them stronger. How to prevent it, it's the same thing. Another question is it a hernia or a diastasis recti? I'm not sure, but I do know that inner abdominal pressure can create a hernia as well. So this can help both. Yes, you can do exercises that you used to do once you learn how to do this and you start healing up properly. And some of the people have actually seen, the clients that I've worked with have seen progress in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks. Every woman's healing is different. And how they connect their core to their their diaphragm and their pelvic floor, how they can connect it. Sometimes they can't connect it very well at first, and they have to practice more. But the more you relax and not stress, the easier it is to gain control of those muscles working together. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to screen share again. So Rachel, if you'll tell me if you can see this in just a second. Let me know when you can see it.
It's there.
Okay. So now what do? Well, I work one-on-one with women, and I don't have time for everyone. So what I've done is created an 8-week program called the Diastasis Fix. And with this program, you'll be getting everything I do with my one-on-one clients and more, because Rachel is coming in and she's doing an 8-week nutrition program for you as well. In it, you're going to have breathing homework, and it progresses you to the next stage. You're going to have a diastasis safe and effective workout program to go along with this. And it is a step-by-step program. I've also decided I'm going to do a private Facebook group to ask questions while you're going through the process. So if you're on week 1 and you're saying, oh my goodness, it's not closing yet, what can I do? I can go on there and help you and answer your question. The neat thing about this is an 8-week program, but it's self-paced. So let's say week 1, you don't feel strong enough to go to week 2. You stay at week 1 and you go from there. And I am also giving a free copy of my Simply Clean Eating ebook along with this. And I just thought, because you're on this webinar, I'm going to run an introductory price right now for you. And it hasn't launched yet. It's going to launch May 17th. And that introductory price is going to be good until May 10th. So the regular price is going to be $127, but I'm going to sell it today until the 10th for $77, or even break it into 2 payments of $42 for you. And that's the link right there that you can find it on. I will be sending out this PDF to everybody. And that way they have that link to click on, or you can just write it down. And I just really want to thank you for trusting me and allowing me in your space. And if you have any questions about the program, you can let me know, and you can email me. And also, what I want you to do from now on, I want you to keep practicing your alignment, okay? I want you to practice it, like I said, when you're putting your makeup on, when you're cooking, when you're standing in line, when you're holding your kiddos. And I want you to practice your breathing. And then practice those TVA holds and pulses. I promise you that will start working your abs to close that diastasis. So I am here to help. And if you have any more questions, please let me know. I don't know if I've answered all of them for you, but I would love to. You can email me questions. If you think of them later, that's fine. If not, Rachel, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
This was just a fabulous course. That was very informative. And, when I practiced it with you, it took me 4 weeks to heal mine. I still practice these moves. It's become habitual for me, and it will become habitual for anybody, to keep your posture in line and watch how you're picking up your kids and how you get down on the floor and get back up. Even when you're doing your squats and your planks and your daily exercises, it all just becomes habit, and you just get stronger and stronger.
Yes, exactly. It's practice for me too, because but I'll be 40 this month. And so for 30 something years, I was not practicing good alignment. So I will even still be standing in line or doing something and think, oh my goodness, I need to untuck my butt or whatever. So it's just practice, and the knowledge, you just having knowledge to know how to fix it, to know that there is hope. There is. And the thing about the program, the Diastasis Fix program, is you will have a workout program. That's one of the biggest things people are asking me, what exercises can I do? I don't have time to show you all that in this webinar, but it will all be laid out for you in that program. And is the diastasis for you, Rachel? It's become stronger, and your abs have become stronger. And didn't your lower back hurt?
Yes, I had pain in my lower back and in between my shoulder blades, and that's subsided.
Yeah, and see, that's the other thing. When you start working on closing your diastasis, lower back pain goes away. My back pain, my back used to go out on me for years, and it has stopped going out on me. And another quick tip that I would like to share with you is, if you can go find a chiropractor that specializes, even with pregnant women and postpartum women, they know what they're doing with the pelvic floor. If you can find somebody like that, that is great. If you have a really large diastasis, working with a physiotherapist is a good idea, or you can do this program along with working with a physiotherapist, and they work hand in hand together. The other thing is, what I'll do is I'm going to email you, everybody who is on this webinar, I'm going to email you a link that's important to find, how to find a chiropractor. There's a website that would be good to find a chiropractor that in your area that is good for pelvic floor. So I'm going to send that out to y'all as well. And if there is no other questions, this has been about an hour, and that's what I was wanting. I guess we're going to hop off from here. And if you have any questions, you can always email me them. And are you good, Rachel?
I am. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And I just want to thank everybody for being on this webinar today and just trusting me and Rachel to help you on this healing journey. And I hope you'll go and have a great day and a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.